Hi, folks. You probably know I debate a lot. I see it as research into the enemy, and my research has yielded me a few scientific laws. So, here are 5 questions that no leftist can answer. Number 1. When did the United States government and the medical establishment become immune or significantly less susceptible from the kind of racism, negligence, and corruption that they exhibited in the Tuskegee experiments? No leftist can answer that question. The Tuskegee experiments, they didn't inject black men with syphilis, as is commonly said. They took about 300 black men who had syphilis against a control group of 200 who didn't have it. They gave them placebo medication, and then 15 years into the study, in 1947, penicillin became the recommended treatment for syphilis. This started in 1932. 15 years in, they still didn't give the 300 black men who had syphilis penicillin. That started in 1932. It didn't get exposed till 1972. 40 years. Some of the men died from syphilis. Some of them passed it on to their wives or others. Some children were born with syphilis from these experiments. And they were able to do it because these were poor, easily exploitable black men in Macon County, Alabama, with an experiment that started in 1932. They're easily exploitable and no one would care. Where are any guarantees that they won't do this again? You ask a leftist, they will have no answer. Number 2, what evidence is there that climate change, whether anthropogenic or man-made, has been, is, or will be a net negative for humanity? Now, Miami might flood, sure. Storms might get worse in the Pacific Northeast or the American Northwest, that's sure. Polar bears might go extinct, certain birds might go extinct. Those things can happen whether we cause them or not. But what if climate change, whether man-made or not, causes better crop yields in Scotland? What if it causes less people to die of cold in Russia? What if it causes more biodiversity in Madagascar? How are we to judge the good and the bad? There are so many factors that can go into judging an outcome, good or bad. You'll find that a leftist can not only not answer this question, they've never even thought about it. They say, trust the science, and that's it. Number 3, who is the entity that I should trust with the vetting of Afghan refugees? Now, we had this question going on during the big refugee dumps of the Obama era, but now we have it in an even more stark example of it. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, everyone, left, right, and center, agrees it was messed up. Should have been done 15 years ago. It was marked by intelligence failures from the State Department, the U.S. military, the White House, and our intelligence community. So our entire security establishment either didn't know that the Taliban was going to take Afghanistan in a matter of weeks, or they lied about it, which is what they did. Maybe it's a little of both, really. The State Department is in charge of vetting refugees. He's good, he's bad, in conjunction with other law enforcement and other agencies. Even if one feels it is our nation's duty to take in refugees because we caused the problem over there, why should we admit a single one until the intelligence failures in these agencies have been addressed? No one on the left will have a good answer for you. Number 4, if the Biden administration takes COVID seriously, why do they refuse to secure our borders, allowing untold numbers of potentially unvaccinated people to enter our country undetected? That should be pretty straightforward, no? Because even if we vaccinated everybody, how do we know that someone from Honduras or from Belize or from Bangladesh or from China is not carrying within them the Phi Zeta Zeta variant and is walking across our border in the care of a drug cartel coyote and then getting on a bus bound for Philadelphia or Chicago or Baltimore or some other area where they can infect largely people of color is who they would infect. So we get about 100 or 200,000 illegal immigrants every month. That's who we catch. Who do we not catch? If you use a low number, 5,000 a month, say we don't catch, how many of them are carrying variants? How many of them are vaccinated, if vaccination is such a necessity? No leftist will be able to respond to that. They do not care, or they do care because they need those people rolling in. Last question. Given that the Biden administration allowed a large number of armaments, some estimate $75 billion worth, to fall into the hands of the Taliban, and that both parties have armed terrorist and criminal groups around the world, why should I support any politician, including Bernie Sanders and the Squad, who call for tougher gun regulations and an assault weapons ban? Addendum, what is an assault weapon? Now, it's understandable that if you're going to expropriate property and force medical treatments on everyone and force them to drive in different cars to save the planet, it's best that you are able to control them and they aren't able to resist if you go to enforce these new protocols. But all of these leftists, including the ones who rightly expose the warmongering of Bush and Obama, people like Noam Chomsky, arming the death squads in the Middle East and Central America and Ukraine, and even Trump giving $150 billion to the Saudis, who are not the most trustworthy people. Every leftist who criticizes that, whether it's Bernie Sanders or AOC or Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib, they will all, without question, support a ban on what they call assault rifles, which essentially encompasses AR-15s and their variants. Why should this government, under either party, with the track record it has of incompetence and malfeasance regarding guns, much heavier weaponry than the AR-15, helicopters, surface-to-air missiles, tanks, jets, why would we trust them with any more control than they already have? No leftist can answer that. The good ones are caught. They're trapped. They are in the hands of these AOCs and Bernies and other various grifters, and they got to go along with whatever they say. The bad ones, though, they know that every tyrant in history takes the guns. It's necessary. They know it. They just might not want to say it. Try these out on your fellow leftists, see what response you get, and God bless.